Latika ji, as you heard from Dr. Pradeep Parar's introduction, we are extremely thankful, privileged and honored that she is amongst us today. Though she is here in the city for the last 10 days, she's been sculpting in the sculpture camp, which many of you have already seen, and some of you who have missed it, after the lecture you can go and have a look at her sculpture and other sculptors' work as well. One thing which I admire about her is her passion for her art. In this man's world, a single woman, how she has fought with odds, her intensity, passion, her softness, tenderness, and the hard work she does, they all go together. During these years, what she's faced, probably not many amongst the art world or otherwise also have faced. She has faced a lot, but still has come out with great honors, and she's still continuing to work. I've seen her with my own eyes, and many of others who have had the experience of seeing her work. She is 63. She still comes to the sculpture camp at 6 o'clock and leaves sometimes at as late as 11:30 when the chowkidar kind of told her to leave the museum space, that she cannot continue. Otherwise, she wanted to continue till 1 o'clock. That is the kind of commitment she has with her work. We are not paying her anything, only peanuts. That is her commitment to her work. The tenderness, the softness in her work, you'll see when you go there. Outwardly, she might look to many a little, with due respect to Latika ji, but she still retains that, the childlike quality of a wanderer, of an explorer. I'm really thankful to you, Latika ji, for being with us today. I would request you to kindly come on the stage and share your experiences with us. Thank you so much.
Firstly, I would like to thank Mr. Dewan Manna, who very bravely invited me, because I really have a reputation of fighting in camps and situations like this. But secondly, I was keen to come here because I had heard so much about Chandigarh Museum and the art college just opposite this, and the workshop taking place between the museum and the college premise. So I thought it would be nice. But I have been teaching at the university level for the last 31 years. And honestly, I had been very tired in the end of the institution pattern and the stress of having to follow certain ways of living and working. So finally, I'm really free now, having taken voluntary retirement. So I take liberties with much more liberties than what I used to earlier. So I think if I explain my work just verbally, it will be very hard, because I'm showing certain works which are very early works and up to last month's composition. So, but one thing is very sure in my life and work, that I'm more fond of the insect life and nature rather than human beings. So I'm not a very social person from that point of view. I like to spend time with plants and any organic shapes. Insect, as I said, if you go into insect life and animal life, they're just another worlds. And I felt really much more inspired by the micro level sensations that have taken place, and the erosions and rotting and the growing of shapes, that is very hard to pinpoint into my single compositions whether this is based on this topic or that topic. I have never gone on to the topics of one composition. My each composition would be a assimilation of my feelings for whatever is around. It would be the, as I said, the insect dwellings or water flowing or clouds or the whatever the differences are caused because of diseases. So whatever has caused the natural changes into the situations or the materials, that has been the interest of my sculptures. But I'll be starting showing from the portraits. I especially compiled them because we are having quite a few students here. Because I have had chance of doing very large works on the basis of portraits, and just one human being's face tells everything about the man or the woman, the eyes, or just the look of the face, and you know what the person is like. So I have been interested in portraits in the past, not so much now, because I'm really into bronze compositions on a very large scale. And I'll go on explaining the importance of each work, and then later on any questions are most welcome. Now this is the portrait done of my father. This was in 1968 when I was a student. It was during the summer months and winter breaks. I would come and make everybody model. So this is in bronze now. Next, please. This is Lady Clark in London. She was very fond of me and my work. Next, please. This is my very important portrait. This is the portrait of Ram Kinkar Baij, Padma Vibhushan. He's considered the father of modern Indian sculpture. So that's what I was doing. And he was quite, in the beginning, seeing my size, he was not keen to model for me. I was very, very lightweight, 45 kg. He said, "Choti ladki kya karegi?" So Sharvari Rai Chaudhary convinced him कि इसको chance दो. But the day I started, he was very happy that he was there. Next, please. This is the same while at work, and he kept singing Rabindranath Sangeet, and at point of time he kept crying. And Ram Kinkar was one person who could never model without his. He was very fond of drinking. So he said, "मैं इतना लंबा कैसे बैठ पाऊंगा? मुझे तो बहुत तंग आ जाऊंगा खाली बैठ के." So I told him कि let's both of us have some drinks and बात करते हैं, फिर काम करते हैं. तो नहीं, मुझे नहीं. So he was very happy because of the rugged treatment that I gave, you see, and he was not his face had a lot of asymmetry. It was not a very regular, pretty face. So when he was talking and singing, his muscles were almost like juxtaposed most of the time. And he had a very mobile face. So I thought I'll have very kind of large masses of clay so that the effect could be quite rugged. Next, please. This is Somnath Hor, portrait of Somnath Hor. He was the other extreme of Ram Kinkar, very silent, serene, and but he had a absolutely restless look on his face. It would be a very quiet looking face. He had a very graceful, long neck, but his eyes were very restless. So I just wanted to sort of get that. Now, all these portraits are in the collection of National Gallery of Modern Art, Delhi, in bronze. Next, please. There's a portrait of my grandfather. I had gone to his village and we just got the local clay from the nearby pond and just tried out a new head. Next, please. This is Balraj Pandit. I think Punjab people know him. This was done in 1979 when he was still in Patiala, and those days he had very long hair, and he was also very fond of humming. This is the time when he was all the time humming his tunes. Next, please. This is a portrait of Jairam Patel. Title is Jairam Patel Eating Pan. Jairam Bhai was one of my teachers, very fond of eating pan. And I think after my portrait was completed, doctors banned his pan eating. So I told him, मेरे portrait का क्या होगा? आपका एकदम face अब वैसा नहीं दिखता. Next, please. This is a portrait I made in Sweden, my friend's daughter. Later on I cast and gave it to them. This is in clay. Next, please. This is a portrait of Swami Chinmayanandji I did from life, and he loved it. And, it's in bronze now in my house. Next, please. It's a portrait of Mulk Raj Anand done from life. This has never been exhibited anywhere. It's in my house. This is in plaster of Paris. He was visiting Varanasi for some meeting, so we invited him over, and he really loved it. His face was also, I mean, I think people in Punjab would know his features best. He was also, he had kind of a saggy features later on, but his face was also very sort of, the movement was always there. His muscles were, as I was mentioning, always juxtaposed as if like in watercolor. So it wasn't easy to handle his features. Next, please. Now here I was selected from an international competition during the Nehru centenary year to do Nehrus for quite a few countries. So my works have gone to 8 countries, all bronzes. Next, please. This was Dr. Ratan Parimu. This is still in plaster to be cast in bronze someday. Life size. Next, please. This is a boatman in Varanasi. Very old man, very strong man. He would take boats across the country during the monsoon time also. And I just loved his face. Very fascinating features where all his bones are really visible, you know, his skull shape. And next. This again one of my Nehrus. This was the time when Indira Gandhi was alive, and she was personally watching all the Nehrus all over to make a final selection. Next, please. Now, similar one, but here I've done some more modeling on the face. This was just recently put up in a Ministry of External Affairs building in Delhi, opposite Janpat Museum. Next, please. This is B.B. Doshi, architect in Ahmedabad, is a very good friend. Still in plaster of Paris to be cast. Next, please. This is my Nehru head. Sorry, Gandhi, and this is in bronze now. Next, please. This was Safdar Hashmi. Again, a very fascinating face. He was murdered, and the next year they had a street plays to in protest. Next, please. This was Deepak Kannal, my classmate from Baroda. Later on, he became the Dean of the Faculty of Fine Arts. This was violet work, clay. This is in plaster now. Next, please. Now, after that Nehru bust, I was selected to do this 20 feet Nehru for Jawahar Bhavan, New Delhi. This is a very interesting building. I was not keen to do this big work, but when I saw the building, I said yes for the work. And now, whenever I do this big monumental works, I don't just make a figure. I like to sort of stand there myself and feel my own drapery, how it's going to fly or respond to the strong breeze coming from this side, that side. So I went and stood there many evenings, mornings to understand what kind of breeze force to bring into his dress and the pigeons. So obviously this was on the top of the steps. There's a door at the back. So, and there was another very serious problem about this work was that one had to see it from a great distance. And after that, one had to climb the steps and come very close by. So, certain details had to be really very carefully handled without making them look like very sort of gimmicky or toy-like. So the amount of texture had to be sort of really manipulated. The texture of the hand, the amount of texture in the face, drapery, and the portion which was to be closely watched, that is right up to the pajama. So that was quite a difficult problem. And second very difficult problem was the perspective problem. This was my first big sculpture, and we used to read during our college days about how the perspective is understood in statuary, what size the head should be there, how much big, and so on, so on. So when I was doing the sculpture, we made a viewpoint which was 16 feet below the ground, so that I could go down and then view the piece. So once we did that, then we could absolutely calculate what that perspective difference was, like 1 inch, ½ inch, and what point was disturbing, like this collar was disturbing the chin, so that had to be cut. The shoulder had to be cut, left shoulder, otherwise this area was not visible, and so on. And both the fingers and the palms had to be reworked completely, because the moment I went down 16 feet, the view had to be 32 feet. So everything was kind of mixed up. So they had to be, the whole plaster had to be broken. All the fingers had to be reworked. But if you stand on the 20 feet and watch the fingers, they're all wrong. You know, it doesn't work. So, but when you're there, now the fingers are working right. And same thing happened to his cheek. I had to cut the cheeks, I had to cut the lips, and the nose had to be reworked too, which was a very good learning experience for me, which was quite useful when I did my other works. That's you can see the scale there. Picture's not too clear, as Mani Shankar Iyer and myself. Next, please. This is the back side. And I was very particular about this Nehru because I'd seen some other works in the country, Nehru ones, which are very bulky. Now, despite Nehru being bulky, I was not keen to make him look saggy and kind of a dull, ineffective. So I had to see a lot of films of his age before 50, late 40s, when he was walking fast and flying pigeons. Flying pigeons he was doing later on in life. But his earlier photographs where he's doing very brisk walking with his party men. So I had to do a lot of drawings for this work, collect many photographs and films, of course I saw, to get the person into action, you know. Next, please. This is how we started. This was one work where I knew that it will be absolutely impossible to work in clay because the clay would keep drying and chipping off. So I had to really do very exact calculations to make the pipe stand and the wire mesh and so on, so that I could work with direct plaster of Paris. Advantage was that any time and day, any amount of month or years, it would just stand there, and you could watch it from near and far off too. So that's just the beginning of the same Nehru. Next, please. There's the same violet work. There were some sculptors who made a challenge to me that normally it is impossible to do the portrait sitting up there. And my argument was that whenever we are applying clay or plaster or like in painting color, there is a certain mood that you are working in. So if I'm working on the legs and the kurta in a particular mood in the month of June or any month, and I'm making the head on the ground level after 6 months, then the mood is not going to be the same. So the surface treatment will never match. So whenever I worked on the shoulders and the collars, I took to the face because the textures have to match. You know, you can't do one thing here and join it and so on. Next, please. This same violet work. In this piece, we used to have serious problem because one could really see properly from a distance, and the moment I climbed and I would be there, it would really look like a wall, you know. So I had to put some boy there to do the lining for me. So sometimes I had my binoculars in that viewpoint area, and I had to sort of really shout quite hard to let the person draw lines, you know. It's like the longitude and latitude lines. So, and each point had to be numbered. So I had to ask him to put those particular numbers, and then whenever I was coming up, that person had to tell me that this was the exact number, you know. I mean, I had to make this point as at 3 point or number 5 or number 6. Otherwise, it was really difficult to work on this piece. And I had to frequently visit Allahabad Museum, where I used to study his drapery. I had to very closely study how many buttons he had, because the buttons gave me the indication of where the mass would be swelling, or what portion had to really fly as per the body modeling. And his pajama cloth, whether it was a thick cloth or a thin, his kurta, in what season he was wearing a thicker khadi or a thinner one, because the folds had to come according to the cloth. So very careful handling had to be done. And I also had to keep pigeons in my house, which was very difficult because we also had cats. We also had cats in the house. So the cats had to be tied up during my work time. And 1 or 2 pigeons disappeared. I had to pay a very heavy price for that. And so, but it was a lot of learning for me, this Nehru sculpture. Next, please. Now, you can see Mr. G.R. Santosh sitting at the back. He had come with Mr. Ghulam Muhammad Sheikh to finally see whether Nehru really looked like the Nehru or no. And I had told G.R. Santosh that there's one portion that I was not happy with. And I've tried so many things, it's not working. And once the piece is made in bronze, I will not be able to make any change. So he had maybe also noticed that, but he actually knew the answer. So he just told me, you go up, just take this much of plaster, and I'll tell you kahan par haath aise karna. So I had just done that, and I think G.R. Santosh's life study was absolutely fabulous. I think one of the best in the country. So anyway, he had helped me in my Nehru. Next, please. This again violet work. Next. This is that viewpoint. Now, I had just mentioned to Balbir Katt about my desire to go down 16 feet. Otherwise, how am I going to understand this perspective problem? So I had gone for my Jamia job in Delhi, and he made this out of raw clay. So it was very fascinating. It was like a sculpture. Next, please. So Sanyal Sahab used to visit us very frequently, and he was extremely encouraging in my Nehru project. Next, please. This is where G.R. and Balbir Singh Katt, there's a coming up from the viewpoint. Next, please. This is violet work. I've just got some pictures to show here, that we had to do a lot of climbing. And next, please. This was we were so short of time that I had to work many times, double shift, morning till dinner time, then 10 o'clock to morning again, and it went like for months and months. And I wonder if Rajesh Sharma is sitting here. He was one person who was very helpful to me. He was one of my assistant in my Nehru work. So both of us used to keep awake whole night working on this piece. Next, please. That's Rajesh Sharma and Balchand Ram, and that's me. We used to love doing all this pulley work, you know. We used to insist that we have to do it ourselves till we can. So we are picking up that leg and taking it up. That's the time when we just started welding. Next, please. This is how we do the casting. You can see me with the molds inside the bhatti. Now, I was telling some students here the height of my bhatti. So it's about, my molds were about, some of them go up to 10 feet or so. So the batti walls have to come up too. These are how we put runners and screws and so on. Next please. That's again sealing the furnace and closing the mold tops before we let them go into firing. And that's how we work manually. And I've been in front of the crucible all my life since 1974 when I first poured metal, and up till now, whatever the quantity is, this crucible takes about 190 kg. So I always have to be in front to make sure that no unwanted, not so good metal goes into it. So I always do the front cleaning myself. Though at times it gets very hard because all the heat is always on me. Next please. This was the Nehru departing from a house. This is how we packed our big works. Next please. This was my second big monumental sculpture. This was Rajiv Gandhi when he wasn't there. This was commissioned by Manishankar Iyer because he felt that he really wanted me to do the Nehru, so I had to do his. Now here too, I went and stood at the spot where actually Rajiv Gandhi had to come, so that I could feel the breeze from the back. The sculpture had to face this side. There's this sea beach at the back, so the breeze is really strong here. So I've given the kurta the forward thrust, and as you might notice that most of my sculptures have very deep undercuts. I never fill the sculpture from below. In fact, I spend much more money and much more time making special small molds on the inside of whether it's a sleeve or collar or kurta. Next please. This was a close-up of the, this was the one being installed in Delhi. So we just had, this is for the scale I wanted to show it. Bronze. Next please. This is how we have to sort of, uncover once we put it up. That's the one in Bombay. I'm on top. This is the function. Next please. This was at Andaman. Again a very challenging site because it was at the middle of the water, sea, and the sea waves were so high that nobody could use specs, we would be just underwater like that. And the crane, the sculpture was flying like that, like pendulum. And I remember we had to wait whole day for breeze to stop, maybe just for 5 minutes, when we could quickly use a crane hood and install, and we did. And normally I weld the inside pipes to the ground structure before the crane is off, but the breeze was again there, so we, without the welding joining, we had to sort of just keep our fingers crossed and just installed it. So basically it's quite exciting when we are doing these big works because every city has a challenge, and the site, whether is going to be installed at the middle of the marketplace or mountain area. Next please. This is my new work which I'm still working on last few months. This was still, it's not finished, a lot of work still. This was while I was working in plaster of Paris. So first I made a 6.5 feet figure, then I enlarged it. Next please. This is the 3/4 back. This is my very favorite angle because her foot is visible and her sari is flying here too. Now this sculpture is for the city of Hyderabad, next to the lake, and there too the breeze was coming from front, making the drapery fly from the left side, and you know the clothes are really going round. So that is how I visualize the dress. And I think this was the first time that I tried sari in sculpture, which was a challenge, but I'm really happy because this was, I felt I could not have done better, the sari bit, you know, the palla flying and a lot of high drama in the pose. Next please. So close up. Most of my works are that rough and rugged. I've always felt that the British academic figures were not really right for the Indian sunshine. The sun is so strong, wherever the smooth surfaces, the light reflects back. So if you have very deep rough textures, it's like the comparison between a plain silk or a raw silk or any kind of khadi. The light doesn't reflect back. So that is what I mean, I have been trying different effects in my plaster works. So I think it works because you can see the shape properly because light is there, you know. Next please. This is again different angle. Next please. Next please. Now here, as I said in the beginning, I've been very fond of termites, ants, bees, all kinds of insect, and especially the way they make their dwellings, you know. So I was on a UGC fellowship for 3 years. I think that was the first time in my life, 1988, when I had lots of money and lots of time in hand. Because I had 3 years, money, and I could just travel around and work. And that is when I travel around in the fields of Orissa, where they have a huge termite hills. I lived there. I used to cast the termite hills, which was risky because the people said the cobra lives inside it. So my team had to be guided by me to run if they see a snake. So we would fill those with plaster of Paris because I was very curious to see what the shape is like inside the termite hills. So we took a lot of cast of that, you know, and then we discovered that each huge piece had at least 20 to 30 queens. So this is one of the queen that I brought with me. It was very hard to save it, and but I have used it in my work quite a bit. Next please. Now I was at one time photographing all the dead frogs and dead dogs on the road, whatever was being crushed, you know. Once a 3D shape, same thing becoming flat, and you can see the bones here and the body flat. So this was whatever was happening on the ground level. So the ground texture and the shape was very much part of whatever happened to the dead animal, and that was like shape was very inspiring for me. Next please. This was a river side in Varanasi after the floods. So you can see the footprints. Next please. This was just my my feeling for the land and whatever is happening over it. Next please. This was again a group of leaves where the red ants collect the leaves on the trees and you get beautiful shapes. Next please. Here the roots have been very inspiring for me. They have been in many of my works. Next please. This is it is not my sculpture, it's a actual goat on the ghat. This is just to say that I'm like roaming around on the ghats very often to have the feel of the people on the ghat and whatever activities are taking around. Next please. This is one of my work. It was quite an old work, 1973. This was decay. As I was saying, I was working on the idea of decay and growth. Whatever happens to a decayed shape, it's again a growing shape. So decay for one and growth for the other. And again the metamorphosis that is taking place. I mean, any shape, organic living shape is changing all the time. So many of my works were based on that. This was brass and aluminium in the collection of NGMA. Next please. This is again, I call it steps of success leading to what? This was my feeling for the Tughlakabad fort. I'm extremely fond of Tughlakabad, but the crumbling state of the fort. So again, what happens after death? I've been observing death more so when I shifted over to Varanasi. I would sit by the Manikarnika Ghat. That is where they burn the bodies, and I've been working on the bodies inside the medical museum also. So all these works were like part of that period. Next please. This is again landscape, again land, using all the rope, cow dung. This is a period that I really took to cow dung in a very big way, 1974. I made large reliefs using that, and I discovered that cow dung makes a very interesting medium. You can mix all kind of preservative plus grass and wooden pieces into it to get the different varied kind of textures and colors. Next please. This is again, I used to be very fond of this sculpture. It was gutted down and burned down during the 1984 riots in Varanasi, where I think because of Balbir Katt and his being a Sikh, they burned down my studio and a lot of my work. This was based on beehive. Now, this in this work, I would like to tell you one thing, that I was extremely fond of this work, especially because this work gave me an insight that a work doesn't have to end. A form can go on and on. So, like a termite hill or beehive and many other shapes like this, you can, and also like branches, or you know, where a shape you can keep repeating it. It could remain a 6-inch sculpture or turn to a 100-feet work, you know, using similar kind of repetitive shapes or forms. This was sandstone and fiberglass. Next piece. This was, I made this after the 1984, because I had been witness to a lot of violence on the road with a friend of mine, a sick lady who was trapped, and I had to get her out of this place, and it was one of the most horrifying experience of my life. So I made this sculpture. This is also with the National Gallery of Modern Art. Next please. This was Sati. Now this, I was very moved when in 1987 a rope cover and educated girl was literally murdered in the name of Sati. So I did many reliefs in papier-mâché, ceramic, bronze, using a lot of color. This was just about 1 feet, quite small. Next please. This was again a tree. I've been working on trees. This was brass, one of the trees that I have here. Next please. This was a seascape. This was metal and wood, about 13.5 feet long. This was the coral formation by the seaside, which was again very similar what the form of a beehive would be like. You know? Next please. This was a dead dog. This I made in 1987. This was when I just joined Jamia and I came home and everybody was in my neighborhood cribbing about a dead dog and the foul smell and all that. And when I saw it, I was quite fascinated by what had dried out and what was still wet, you know. It was a combination of very interesting feeling really. So I just came up, picked up some wax and just started this work. And I was quite happy that till the next day the piece was still there, though my neighborhood was quite unhappy about it. But I was quite happy because it was a very good reference point for me. So that is how I did this work. I did quite a few of these dead dogs. This is direct casting bronze. Next please. This was one of my growth series work. This was black marble with aluminium. This I did when I was teaching at BHU. I was also awarded my national award for this work. 1981 I think. Next please. This was one of my very early marbles I did in 1982. Now here also I was very inspired by the termites, how they eat up into the wood, and the surface remains, the inside is all very fragile shapes. So I turned those kind of fragile shapes into marble. I did quite a few pink marbles, black marbles and some sandstones. This is with the Godrej family in Bombay. Next please. This was what I call a split. This is a black marble and aluminium. This shape was derived from the fruit fig, anjeer. You know how it splits, and a lot of very interesting shapes and colors are coming out from inside. I had used much of red and maroon paints, then I burnt it to get that very old rotten color to this work. This is with the Bhopal Museum now. Next please. This is again a white marble. This was about 6 feet. This was in 1988, and I was personally very happy with the size. This was then my biggest marble, and the top had a beautiful polish. Absolutely, we could see our face, and this had very deep, long holes inside the marble. If you can see that that back corner behind where I am sitting, those days we didn't have those big drills in our hand, so it was all manual work. Next, please. This was with IPCL, Baroda. Next, please. This is a wood carving of mine with the same theme, where the inside gets worked out and the outside almost remains the same. This is shisham wood. This is about 3 feet tall. Next, please. This is one of my very favorite marble, which I made in about 89. This is with Mrs. Feroza Godrej, Bombay. Here also I had made the piece look extremely fragile inside. Most of the tones are lacking in this picture, but it goes quite deep, you know, intricate shapes, highly polished. Next, please. The close-up of the same. Next, please. This was my bigger work. This is in Yugoslavia. It was 1989. This was, in this piece I incorporated water. So there are 3 types of water bodies which are oozing out of the marble. Next, please. Maybe we have the other side now. Here is another one with aluminium and black marble. Next, please. This was a pink marble. Here too I had very intricate, and of course, since this was in a house, it is not like a camp work where we are kind of stressed and we have to make few compromises when we want to do this, but we can't reach up to that stage. But on this work, I've worked for a long time, you know, from morning till night, and absolutely kind of flawless polishing. And this color is very nice, because marble is one material, I think, which is most sensuous for sculpture. I don't think there's metal, you can reach metal up to that stage, whatever you do to it. Because marble sculpture, if it's kept in the moonlight or sunlight or pitch dark, you can still feel this translucent quality of different kinds of marbles, especially the whites and pinks. So I think if marble handled well, it can be felt, what I say, completely, you know, nothing lacking in it. It's a complete medium by itself. Next, please. This is black Kashmir stone. This is also a very favorite work of mine, where I used to sometimes spend whole night alone. This was in Kud, so the place was very beautiful, weather used to be nice. That is where I did that. Next, please. This is a dolomite stone with bronze. So I didn't want this precious looking piece to touch the ground, so I thought I must lift it up and sort of lift it up by bronze and keep it hanging. So I call it a flower, desert flower. Next, please. This is again one of my marbles. Now this was again what I'm doing here. awareness for nature, for trees. If you save trees, trees save you. If we save nature, nature saves us. And here I've made Pachandri Devi, who in 1973 along with Bahuguna started the Chipko movement, and her role was, I think, most important, because she was the one who was collecting the women from the homes to hold on to the trees and protect them. So I have Vachandri Devi, who's climbed up on the mountain. You can see a nude, a grey figure on top. Next, please. Yeah, close up on the same. She's holding on to the tree. Next, please. Now here I have another Devi, and the irony between a Devi and a Sati, the situation where a Devi is a female idol and the woman is born to death. So that is how I have got the red there. That is all death. So I call it a Devi dying. Devi dying. Next, please. Here's one of my Sati series, and then Sati, then the ghats. This is almost the landscape of the Manikarnika Ghat. And here too I have used the colors to signify the rotting ideas, you know, and the feeling of death. Next, please. This was my Arthi sculpture. There are 3 reliefs put together. The middle one is Arthi. Here I have used metal, ceramic, silk, all different mediums. Because in Varanasi, it's a very picturesque scene when a very old person dies. You have all very colorful cloth with gota and, you know, very bright colors, flowers. So it's all and you see many dead bodies on the roadside near Manikarnika. So I've sat there for days observing how they take the bodies to the ghat and what happens later on. Next, please. This was the same time, sort of landscape of the Sati period. Next, please. Papier-mâché. This was same period. This was the bamboos, papier-mâché, fibers, silk. Next, please. Now, this was a larger size. This I call evolution. Here I have used landscape. These front shapes are all brass, shiny brass. Here I have used silk, cow dung, clay, or anything that I felt was suitable for this work. This is about 10 feet. This is in the collection of National Gallery, Delhi. Next, please. This was again fields. This was 8 feet. This is in the collection of National Gallery right now. Next, please. This was this was the period when I was working with those termite hills. This is a 5 feet ceramic single piece sculpture. Next, please. This was smaller trees. Next, please. This was a slightly smaller than that work. This was the period where I was using the essential forms of any animal moving on, and I was combining it with some shapes, some creepers, tentacle, plants. So I was combining the animal force with the plant force. So these works were of my mid-90s. Next, please. This was a very small work, about 6-8 inches. Same. This was the animal and a plant form combined. This was white gloss with matte white. Next, please. This was again the same subject, different. Stoneware, glaze. Next, please. Same time. Now here I have made this tree, built it up upside down. So after the firing, it had to be turned the other way around. Next, please. Same trees using some animal force into it. Next, please. Now here, this work I did after the Iraq war. We had done much traveling in 1973 through Middle East, Iraq, Iran, Turkey, right up to Afghanistan. And we made many friends in those countries. So when the Iraq war took place and so much destruction was done there and in Kabul, that is when I did this work, and the title is Stop the Bloody War. Now here, my main medium was bamboo and papier-mâché. Then cow dung was used, then paints, iron for as a structural strength, and many pieces of silk, white silk, off-white, reds. Next, please. Now, this was a 4 feet relief in bronze. So it's again fields. I had taken a flight to Varanasi from Delhi. It didn't land. It went over to Patna. I think there was some weather problem. It was, I think, during monsoon time. And the landscape over Bihar was so beautiful. It was all just green and ponds, water pools and all greens. The moment I landed at Varanasi, I told my workers at home that you immediately melt some wax and make some ground plane. And I just started work immediately, and I just took one night. So evening till morning my composition was done. Then I did the molds later on. But I'm quite fond of this work. This is in Mr. R.K. Agarwal's private museum in Baroda. Next, please. This was done after the Bombay flood a few years back. So all the Bombay, the high-rise buildings are all kind of drowned, you know. Half the buildings are under water. And this relief is from both the sides. If you make it stand, it stands, and you can see the other side, which is the water comes to the side portions, and the building portion is the lower portion, which is here now. Next, please. Now this work I did, my cat died, and Balbir Kit and I were very upset. Then we decided we have to do something positive to get over this feeling. And our cat was always climbing certain plants, so I used the same twigs, made a structure, and did this whole thing is a single piece brass casting, which was a casting challenge, but it worked out extremely well. So the entire 4 columns plus iron crosses are all single piece. I had to make 2 funnels to cast this work. But I'm personally extremely fond of this work. Next, please. Is the same work. This is just immediately after the casting, before I did the patina. Next, please. This is another work. This is after the patina, and I made a bronze plant, and I've kept inside that sculpture, the middle of that. And the title of this work is Fence. Now the fence is for saving trees and saving saplings, and according to me, a fence, a word, is for saving animals too. So fence means save anything, anybody. Next, please. Now this is again, I think, very important work for me, because when I turned 60 and I had spent so many years in Varanasi. I was taken to Varanasi in 1960 by my father, and I was quite fascinated by the river and the people. The entire activity that takes place on the ghat, right from the priest, the hair cutting, you have goats there, you have monkeys, you have ducks, anything, you know. It's a complete life scene of a whole life. You know, people are cooking on the ghat, eating, lying down there. Everything happens on the ghat. People are changing there, bathing, worshipping. So this is my single wax piece that I've done, and a single piece casting. I think we have some more pictures of that. Next, please. It's a close-up of the same. You can see the monkeys and the birds sitting over there. Next, please. This is the bronze of the same. And I was very happy to get my international award for this work from Beijing last year. Next, please. Same, different angle. Next, please. Now here's since I love train journeys, seeing the landscape and different states in India, the landscape is so different. You go to Bengal, you go to Maharashtra, Gujarat, the landscape is different. This was the banana plantation which I saw around Bhusawal, massive banana fields. Next, please. This was in wax. So each leaf had to be made individually and made. Next, please. Same, different angle. Next, please. This was the casting then. It's a single piece casting here. It's about 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet. Next, please. Same. Next. This was again my journeys to Dehradun. We have these tall poplar trees. Now, I was quite fascinated by them, so I thought I have to make a relief. This was papier-mâché and fiberglass. Next, please. Same. Next. This was field. This was the it could be any plantation really, you know, where you can walk through. Next, please. Same, fields, papier-mâché, same, fields. Next, please. Same, fields. Now here I was also trying out some drawing. I mean, this was my relief works, but I was also doing the charcoal drawings and pencil drawings on those. Here Here too, I have used color, glass, silk, or whatever I felt could fit in well. Next, please. Same, close up. Next, please. This is a marble. This is in Bombay now. This is again, which I call deterioration, that certain portions are left, rest is all gone. Next, please. Close up of the same. Next. Yes, these are my recent works. Same idea of whatever is happening, whatever sensations are being sort of activities, sensations, movements going on the ground level. This is terracotta and papier-mâché. Next, please. Is the same from the back side and is to be hung. So you see both the sides at the same time. Next, please. This is my tea garden relief. So 3.5 feet, 3.5 feet. Papier-mâché, not too high. It's in a slant shape. Next, please. Now here, this is a forest. I call it a white forest. Got a very translucent glaze on top. So it's a combination of matte white and glossy white. Next, please. This is one of my functional landscape series pot. Now here, this is a double walled pot which you fill with water. You can see many lids here, and you can keep any food, peanut. Normally, I have used it for keeping peanuts warm. And I've got many other different plates. So they are landscapes, but they can be used. Next, please. This is a landscape. It's a plate. You just hold it and eat out of it. Next, please. Same landscape. Next, please. Same landscape. Seascape rather. Next, please. Same. This is fields. You can eat out of this. Next, please. This is my egg pot or potato pot. You can hold many eggs and any round shapes without them falling off. And it's my seascape. Next, please. This is again fields. Next, please. Yeah, same landscape, fields, landscape, ceramic. This again a landscape, windows, clothes hangings, a village scene. Next, please. Sorry, this is kind of turned. Next, please. Now, this is a very special pot for me because I've been working with laborers over last 25 years. Now, they make in UP, Bihar side, they make litti, chokha on the spot. This is burning cow dung cakes, making those. It's a quick, fast meal. So here, we used to fill the burnt cow dung cakes inside and keeping your food warm for many hours, It's a slow heating. Next, please. I have another one like that. Now, they are all functional and usable. Next, please. Here again, this is also a group of trees, but it's a functional sculpture for me. Next, please. Same here, it's a functional work. It's again fields, plowed fields. Next, please. Same landscape, functional work. Next, please. Same functional sculpture. You can just use it your way. Next, please. Same functional. Same, this is again forest, you can just hold it and use it. Same. Here you fill it up with water, the whole area is filled with water, and you keep the foodstuff in the middle. So it's a pond landscape. Next please. Same. Well, now here these are not to be used, these are papier-mâché reliefs. Now here again the relation of the roots with the ground, and whatever is happening on the ground level, inside the ground levels, if you just unearth any hole which is visible on top, you see a lot of activities going on. So this is the various exercises that I did. Next please. Next please. Same, similar one. Idea is the same. Next please. Same. Now here again a functional pot. It's a same deforestation sculpture, but it's also a container for me. Next please. Same, it's a landscape. It's a relief in bronze. Same, reliefs. I've been doing these landscapes. Landscape again. Greens all patinated area, rest are just kept like that. Next please. Now here I was very keen to show these drawings, because when I said I was very fond of this insect life, this was specifically my Baroda period. I was spending a lot of time in the park, next to the river, ponds, I mean using the ground as my subject. And that is when I visualized the same insect could get so big. And those days I would be living inside the hostel alone. It was a huge hostel where about 400 girls used to stay, but summer months I used to be living alone. So at times when I was coming up from college at night, I would visualize the same insect all over, you know. So there's the same period drawings. And ultimately what happened, that once I made a very long shape in my department one night, and I went home and I went to the hostel. When I came back the next day, I had forgotten that I made that, and I got so scared myself for a few minutes. Then my Guruji Mahendra Pandya said that enough is enough, your snake series and insect series, because then I was having my cup of tea and I said, "Mere ko sir lag raha hai iske andar bhi kuch hai." He said, "Now you stop it. This work is not going to." So I was like literally forced to stop this work. But I was quite keen to make very large shapes like this, you know, which could be like maybe about 1 kilometer or so, you know, big structures with these forms. Next please. Same, different angles, same, similar shapes, you know. These are all pencil drawings. Later on I did quite a few lithographs using these images. This is one of my reliefs done at the same time. This was a Sati time, the Devi dying. Next please. This is again one of my landscape is a small black marble. Next please. So my Arthi series, this was beginning, this was made, then other shapes came up. Next please. Now this work is one of the work I have here. is after the Latur earthquake, when everything was just shattered. So here I've used cow dung, brass vessels, terracotta, and it's all like merged back into the nature. So I'm quite fond of this work. This was again my tree series, bronze. We have many cut up trees, especially on this Maharani Bagh area, because the traffic is, it's a very high traffic, and the branches are completely trimmed. So we have these green shapes, which are hardly looking like trees, but they are trees. So I've done quite a few sculptures on these. Same tree series, same landscape, same landscapes, landscape, trees, brass. Again, this is a deforestation where the entire trees have been cropped. Next please, brass. Here is again, this is ceramic and bronze. It's again bronze, trees, banyan tree, trees, these are chopped trees. Here, this is a landscape with the ants, the leaves and ants, bronze. This is a fallen tree, cut up tree, bronze. And these are all direct wax works. This is a banana tree. This is about 10 feet tall. It was difficult to make because it was quite, the technical part was quite difficult really. All kinds of molds had to be done, so on. So Anjali Sen always said that when my tree is made, she has to come and stand below the tree. So here both of us standing below the banyan tree. Next please. This is a new trees, different shapes, rounded ones, along with marbles. Later on the bronze came to they became roots at the bottom. Next please. This is how I work. This is the same foot of Indira Gandhi. It's a huge single piece casting. This is my furnace. Now this is the last slide that I've got here just to show how I like to live in Varanasi. Apart from work, I go across the river, have a swim, blaze around, and that's what I want to do when I get older, you know, retire on the ghat, enjoy the river life. I would like to thank everybody for the patience, you know.
Thank you, Latika ji. What she didn't give me any title. She said, Diwan, you give the title. And I thought of this, the journey in sculpting. And you've all seen this, such a long, fruitful journey into sculpting. And I'll take only a couple of minutes of yours before I request Dr. Goswami to come and share his thoughts. There's some stories which she did not tell us. She either forgot or she chose not to. Because I have been with her for the last almost 8-9 days. You know, we've been together almost throughout the day and late into the nights. Like she was one of those 5 girl students in a class of 52 in Doon school where she was studying. And that's how she got this, you know, kind of a personality or persona which she has.
Vengeance against the boys. I think one of my schoolmates is here.
Yeah.
It's very kind of him to.
And one of your schoolmates, in fact, were using mobile here.
No.
During the talk. During the talk. Anyway, and then she told me that her father, like she was very fond of climbing on the trees. She would be like always found on the topmost of the branch of the tree. And until her father came and saw her that she's there, then only she will climb down. He would say, okay, maine dekh liya, ab aaja niche. You know, this is the kind of things she's been doing, and she's been sharing things like with Indira Gandhi. The stories was very touching when she was selecting Nehru's bust and how she was describing. She herself was probably a Shantiniketan student,
yes.
And then she was describing to her how deeply she could identify a person from the eyes, and how important the eyes of Pandit Nehru were to Indira Gandhi. And Indira Gandhi gave her only 5 minutes, then she spent with her 45 minutes. Then she was asking, where were you, Latika, all these years? Then she said, pardon, with due respect to you, ma'am, I hate politicians. And then she was supposed to, in fact, make a portrait of Indira Gandhi, a live portrait. That was 28th of October, and the date was 2nd of November 31st, as we all know, she was killed. There are many other stories, as you've seen. She's such a versatile personality, right from paper to clay to ceramics to stone to wood to paper mache and aluminium, bronze, whatnot. She's used all the possible materials which are there, and she's done justice to all of them, which is not easy. It's really, you can ask any students from College of Art, you can ask the teachers who have been sculpting, that it is such a long, tedious, hard journey, and at the same time, trying to create, to be able to create what she really wanted to, what is really close to her heart. And she has lived the life on her own terms, and still continues to do so. Such an inspiring person. I think we all should get inspired by her and never get, she says she never gets tired of anything. She always keeps trying. We should also learn from her.
Especially fighting.
I think probably people have not really been giving you your due. I
yes.
think we are trying. We still haven't had a fight.
No, we haven't.
And I think people will change the opinion about you. I think the opinion is not justified. You're not what you're,
In fact, I just made a phone call to some of my friends and students in Delhi, and I told them, "Mera reputation खराब हो जाएगा," because they'll say, "Madam, बिल्कुल old हो गई हैं, अब लड़ाई भी नहीं हो रहा है." लड़ाई, the first camp पे लड़ाई नहीं हो रहा है. Divanji has taken a challenge now to give me a chance.
It's not a challenge. It's basically his pleasure. It's really a sense of respect which we have for her and the kind of work she's done. You are like a goddess, but please forgive me for saying that. It's a very positive term in the sense goddess of the world of art. And a woman artist on top of that. It's really, really very commendable. I'm nobody to pass a judgment on you, as you all know. I'm a very humble human being, but it is my genuine feeling which I'm sharing with all of you. And thank you so much for being with us. We have one thing before I conclude. I'll share with you. There is a sculpture which is she has sculpted outside for all of you to see. And tomorrow we are concluding the workshop at 6 o'clock in the evening. And I request all of you to kindly come and share the concluding function with us, because there are 9 other sculptors from Chandigarh. Some of them who have been students with her, they are here. I'll take their name. One of them is Mr. Sumangal Roy. He's teaching in College of Art. Then Mr. Rajesh Sharma, who is also her student, who she showed us in one of the slides. He's also teaching in College of Art. Then Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, he's also teaching in College of Art. Then there is a young sculptor from College of Art called Mr. Charanjit Singh. Then we have sculptors who are not in the College of Art from outside. One of them is Mr. Parminder Singh. Another one is Mr. Jagdeep Jolly. Then there is Mr. Vivekanand Kapri. Then there is a girl, a very, very talented girl, Gurpreet Jolly. Hriday Kaushal, another very young, talented artist from Haryana. He's also there, and his young son, I think he's hardly 5, he has also been sculpting with him today. Thank you so much to all the young and middle-aged local sculptors. I'm sorry I'm calling them local, because they're local, I mean you are from here amongst us, but you're not really local that way. Thank you so much for participating in the workshop. Thank you, Latika ji, for participating in the workshop and giving us this beautiful piece of work, which is again very, very gentle, soft, tender. I'm sure when you look at it, you'll say, thank you, Divan. And of course,
thank you,
because this शहर के लिए इतना बढ़िया sculptor Latika ji का with all our efforts. Now I request Professor Goswami to kindly come and share some words with us. Thank you.
I will take no more than 2 or 3 minutes. But been through an absolutely fascinating journey. And before I say anything about the work she has done, I'd like to say something about the structure of this presentation, this lecture, if you like. Now, it's almost as if she was sculpting the lecture, taking a piece of clay, making it into one particular form, cutting it from here and moving this and then adding another piece of clay and so on. I think it's a very, very, I hate to use the word clever, but very skilled presentation. Because she was taking us in very intelligent and very intellectual fashion through the things that she has been doing and through a process that she was, in a certain sense, unveiling for us. I was very impressed by that, very, very impressed by that. I don't know whether it was conscious or it was not, but it certainly was a very, very impressive piece of presentation. But that apart, Latika has been, I've known her for a number of years, not too well, but from a slight distance, and I've always admired her work. You know, the range is astonishing, and the quality of some of the works that we have seen is really, truly impressive. I'm not talking about whether it is a functional piece of work or it is a monumental, gigantic thing like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's or the one she is now in the process of completing, Indira Gandhi's sculpture and so on. Things that we really deserve to have, need to have in our land. Because I am very tired of seeing sculptures of Dr. Ambedkar made of plaster of Paris on city squares, make him look like a traveling salesman selling medicines or something like this, carrying the constitution in his hand in this particular fashion, or Mahatma Gandhi's putlas as they are called in Gujarat and so on and so forth, like that. But we need to have monumental sculpture, great sculpture to fill our city squares and so on, but we have to be extremely careful. She's a kind of person who would be able to do a thing of that particular nature. A phrase comes to my mind. Ahmaduddin Qasimi used it in very different contexts. यही तख्लीक का एजाज है जिसके भरोसे पर खिजा में भी चमन को सींचने की रस्म जारी है. This phrase, तख्लीक का एजाज, the miracle of creation, sticks in my mind. How one starts with no idea or a complete idea, how one moves through it, is something which she has taken us through. The wonderful phrase of T.S. Eliot, between the conception and the creation, between the thought and the product, there falls a shadow. A shadow falls. You conceive of a thing, and what comes out at the end of it is not necessarily exactly the same thing. Barbara Hepworth said once, I think, that almost the idea can be translated, almost the whole of it. But the cleverness or the skill of a sculptor lies in the fact, she is a great sculptor as we all know, lies in the fact that when it is moving between conception and creation, then if the sculptor's intuition takes over, that is when you change things and when you create a bridge between this thing and that thing. I think we have to keep that in mind. You hear about Valmiki when he wrote the Ramayana. It is said about him that he closed his eyes and conceived of or envisioned or visualized the entire text of the Ramayana, the entire story, the narrative, from beginning to end, before he put whatever it was, not pen to paper or whatever it was, like that. The complete realization of an idea in your head before you even begin working. Now, she may have done that. I don't think everything comes out exactly as the way you plan it. You have to improvise all the time and so on and so forth. And that is where great skill truly lies. I was very impressed by 2 or 3 things that she said. I'm sorry, I'm taking more than 2 minutes, but I just take maybe a minute or so longer. The study that she made of Jawaharlal Nehru, the clothing, the manner in which the breeze might sort of take the drapery in one particular direction, or the way the hands would look from this particular angle and so on and so forth. It reminded me of a great story about the great Rodin, the great 19th century sculptor, when he was to make a sculpture of Balzac, who was an iconic figure of that particular time, and just had died just before Rodin came to fruition. And Rodin went and sought out an old tailor who used to stitch suits for Balzac and got the exact measurements of Balzac from that tailor before he started making a sculpture of Balzac. Ultimately, when he made the sculpture, which is a huge sculpture in bronze, of course, Balzac is completely naked. He's not wearing anything at all. But this is the way you prepare. And this is the way, in a manner of speaking, that Latika studied, worked hard at it, doing this and that, researched the entire thing in the interest of authenticity, or whatever goes by that name. We have had a tremendous evening. But one thing which she said reminds me of something else. She said, it can be endless. Nothing can come to an end. And there's a wonderful Chinese proverb which says, the line never ends. You have to lift the brush. This line that she is following, I hope will never end. She will decide when to lift the brush. May I thank you very much, Latika, for being here.
Thank you.
Kind and wise words which you always are very kind enough to share with us. We have prepared some memorabilia items with the images of her work. I'll just show them to you here. And if you want to buy, she has very kindly and graciously given us the royalty-free rights to print them so that we can share it with our viewers, with the lovers of art.
Devansh, is one thing, since many students are here, if anybody wants to ask me something, I'd be most glad to answer.
I think because...
As you feel right.
Should we give only 5 minutes? Because many of you might be on the kind of edge just to go out, maybe for a nature's call or something. So we'll outside also she'll be available to talk to you. But I'll take only 3 questions, right? Can you all raise your hands, and please forgive me if I am not able to kind of give time to everybody. First of all, I'll give a chance to, there is a Sikh gentleman because he's come probably for the first time.
For an artist, every piece of work of his or hers is lovable. But for you, in your entire journey, which is the work you love the most? And which is the work which, the memory of which brings smiles on your face? And which is the work which made you cry? 3 questions in one. Most lovable,
Made me cry.
3 questions. Most lovable work, and which is always pleasing for you, the memory of which, and the work which made you cry.
Okay. The first one, I think that my second marble, which was in the collection of Feroza Godrej, I think I feel that's my most successful marble work. And I think I did a lot of researching into the termite formations, termite hill formations. And I would call it my very successful work, because when Deepak Kannal visited me in Ahmedabad, where I was working in Kanoria Center, he sat on the sculpture and then jumped up. He said, "Oh, sorry, टूट जाएगा." So I said, "नहीं, टूटेगा नहीं है तो marble है इसे, लेकिन इतना fragile दिख रहा है." So I said, "Well, I've got my best sort of comment on my work. It is very hard, but if I could make it so fragile on top that you are scared to sit on it, despite being marble. So I felt that was I still feel a lot for that work when I'm there. Second, I think my Nehru was very important for me because it gave me a lot of boost, especially so in my own country where my teachers got rejected in every, selection time. It was not their rejection that I was happy, but it gave me the confidence that there must have been something in my portrait, because Mr. Gandhi said that I've traveled all over the world, tried to find a sculptor. And what I find in your N.S. Bendre work, that slide was not here. Actually, I got very little time to prepare for this before my coming. So the portrait of Bendre, she was comparing with Balzac, and she said she'd never ever seen such a successful portrait in the country, because I believe she had met Bendre Saab and Ram Kinkar and so on. So that my Nehru gave me a lot of boost, and the amount of study that I did, which Goswami ji very kindly pointed out, and here I would again like to point out that it was his Nehruji's chappal that I hunted for in the market. It was the height of Nehruji, his weight at what age to get the right shapes here. So in that sculpture I learned my maximum. I learned perspective, I learned metal casting. That work really gave me the confidence to do a 100-feet sculpture also, if it came. Like I was selected to do a 60-feet Mahatma Gandhi for Dandi, but they said government doesn't have enough money to sponsor my work. But maybe I would love to do a 160-feet work. And third is, if it came to my crying or other people crying, I would make other people cry. I would not cry. I have been a great fighter. I mean, my classmate is here. In school, I was so shy, I was so coy and so scared. But when I went to Banaras Hindu University, there was an open world there. I was more with, I used to love the ghats. I was with the boatmen. I was always, spending time with common people on the road, seeing films. I'm still very fond of films. We would break all rules. We used to break all rules. And luckily for me, Kulkarni Saab was a dean who gave us 100% freedom. Like he is, I think, one person I owe a lot to. He would give me whole night permission to work alone in the studio, which I carried out at BHU. And so it was that period where I learned how to fight. People said, we will not let you take sculpture because Indian girls can't do sculpture. And I was wondering, what is this Indian girl and American girl? And I used to get highest marks in painting, applied art, least in sculpture. But I said, I want fun. I felt working on sculpture meant you are outside with nature, you are interacting with the climate, you are facing the cold, you are facing the heat. Physically, you are becoming a stronger person. And, so that my Banaras period made me a very strong fighting person. So that is where I decided that if it's to die or kill, I would kill, never die.
I was really humbled to see your work, and it was really wonderful to see huge body of work. It's not a question, but it's an observation, and I would like your comment on it. Like, as an artist, I feel pain and sorrow are much deeper emotions, and contentness and happiness work on a very superficial level. And I see in your works that you deal with death and decay and chopped trees and sati, and for the matter of fact that you yourself work in front of crucible when you can find other people to do it for you. Do you enjoy in being this perpetual state of self-inflicted pain? I mean, sorry for being rude or blunt, but like, does it give you energy to work, or like, how is it like with you?
I think one thing is that I try my best to get the best perfect result, you know, the result of my work. I remember when I joined college, I used to work 4 times more than any boy, really. I remember my entire bachelor degree time, 2 nights a week, I did not sleep. If I was asked to make 2 maquettes, I made 20. I just wanted to sort of get into the depth of it, not for marks, not for this, you know, but then trying to understand to my best capacity, you know. So when I took to casting, there were so many technical problems that come up, but I wanted to solve each one of them to its perfect level, you know, whether it's welding, whether it's pouring of metal, and pouring of metal is 1 second and your whole month's work would go waste. So sometimes I've got 102 temperature. I've had one of my students hold me there at back and I was still in front. I never ever, since 1974 till now, I've never allowed, in all those I've done 6 big Rajiv Gandhis, 1 this and Indira Gandhi now, Nehru, and these were not all my works, these were just a few works. I've got many, many, many more works, you know. Some are sold, some with me. But every time I'm the one standing opposite. It is not for any kind of taking pain. I mean, when we are really going through physical pain, we are sleepy, we haven't had this, we are tired. But the satisfaction that you get when the work is standing in front, complete and perfect, and you know that even the smallest, minutest details which were disturbing you, you corrected it. You made it okay, you know. And I can very boastfully say that I'm the only sculptor who's done statues in the country. In today's date, I do patination on these large works. I don't paint them. People fill it with putties, cracks, they paint them up, enamel paint. I do chemical reaction on these sculptures. So whatever flaw is there should come up. I make it okay. Even with a tiny dot of iron, some nail left, I drill again, take it out, fill it up, again do the patination. It takes weeks, months. But the idea is to not to compromise on what you are doing, because satisfaction is important here. Nobody is telling me to do sculpture. So I am doing it because I want to do it. So because I want to do it, so each time the standard has to be higher than what I did yesterday, you know. If I made one mistake there, I am learning from that. And normally I share all those problems with my common village workers who have learned so much from me. We share any problem, I tell them, ऐसे हो गया, वैसा हो गया, अभी हम देखेंगे, next करेंगे. So they have learned a lot by now. So sometimes they are giving me some warnings also कि ऐसा ना हो. I said, होगा तो कोई बात नहीं, फिर हम लोग ठीक करेंगे. So it is not that I am only like in for pain and so on. I also have an extremely good time. I roam around, I travel a lot. I love Indian trains, I travel a lot on the trains. This Shiv Ganga Express from Delhi to Varanasi is really like my home. If I'm not on the train after within 15-20 days, I start missing something. The entire catering staff, entire staff of the train knows me so well When they see me at the railway station, they pick up my bag and say, "Madam, आ गई, कौन सी सीट है?" Okay. And if I tell them खाना नहीं खाना, आज नहीं खाएंगे, कह रहा है ऐसा कैसे होगा, खाना पड़ेगा. अगर सीट नहीं है, कुछ कंफर्म नहीं हुआ, जैसे मैडम बैठ जाओ, just don't worry, we are here. So they help me out. Holi, Diwali time, so many of my students have gone rush time. तो हम लोग बहुत मज़ा भी करते हैं. आपको अगर काम देख के लग रहा है कि मैं खाली दुखी रहती हूँ, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है. Thank you.
Who have watched her share her thoughts and work with us, I don't think they'll be the same again. I wish, even if they were doing 5% of what she's done, they would achieve much more, much more.
एक लास्ट चीज जो बोलना चाहती हूँ सबसे, कि आप जो भी करें अपने ईमानदारी से करें, ऑनेस्टी, विथ फुल ऑनेस्टी. यू नो, अगर आप अपने साथ ऑनेस्ट रहेंगे तो ही आप दूसरों के साथ ऑनेस्ट रह सकते हैं. दैट्स व्हेन यू कैन बी ऑनेस्ट विथ योर ओन वर्क. जब तक आप ईमानदारी से अपना काम करते टाइम आप सोचेंगे हमारा कौन खरीदेगा, क्या होगा, वो आर्ट नहीं है. आपको महसूस करना है. आप जो भी करें, यू हैव टू फील. जैसे मैं सब स्टूडेंट से कहते हैं, तुम लोग फिगर बनाते हो, कपल बनाते हो, तुमने कभी मोहब्बत की है, फॉल इन लव. लड़की का एक्चुअली हाथ तो पकड़ो. तुमने लड़की का हाथ पकड़ा है क्लास में, नहीं अभी तक नहीं पकड़ते, पहले का हाथ पकड़ो, तब तो देखोगे. आई मीन द सेंस ऑफ फीलिंग. You have to feel ultimately for the material that you're working in. तो texture का quality, marble ये भी, जो गोबर मट्टी जो भी हैं, unless you feel for the material, वो फिर आधा अधूरा ही काम रहता है. और कितना भी टाइम लगे, this is a repeated reply to your question, कितना भी आपको तकलीफ हो, टाइम लगे, वो आपको देना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो वो बनेगा ही नहीं. That's my last year. Thank you.
Thank you, Latika ji. Thank you. As you might be knowing that Michelangelo, they say, used to lie down on the piece of marble to feel it. Latika ji ने तो पता नहीं मिट्टी क्या चीज, किस सारी कायनात को महसूस किया लगता है.
Thank you.